Amnesia the Bunker came out on June 6, 2023, and I got the chance to stream it not too long after. As we do have limited game time in our lives, it is important for us to pick the games we like, and we are often left wondering if a game is worth playing. So in this video I'm going to tell you about the game, talk a little bit about the visuals, the audio and the gameplay, and hopefully by the end you will know if Amnesia the Bunker is worth playing for you. The Amnesia games have for a while now been a regular and often well-liked mainstay of horror games. At the release of the first game, it grabbed audience and YouTubers' attention from the start, making the game a hit. And since then, the following entries have tried to emulate and exceed the first to mixed success. Since the first game, the series have experimented with more and more complex storytelling, which at times could feel overwhelming and even, in my opinion, detract from the horror, while also creating an intrigue or at times just confusion. Over the years, the games have been relatively linear, with players being guided through different areas, moving from one to the next, with just some minor exploration. And then Amnesia the Bunker came out, a game that changes the recipe. This time the player is not being led through different levels. There is simply one level in the game, which is the bunker. And we can explore it reasonably freely from the start, though there is of course a correct sequence of order we would want to do things in, and some areas are locked off from the start. You can definitely go into some of the areas out of order. And as honestly, I find with this map, the horror of the games get to shine, because the premise and the gameplay is quite simple. You are Henri, a French soldier during World War I, and after a short playable intro sequence, you wake up on a medical cot in the bunker with amnesia, as the title of the game would imply. You seem to be alone. You can of course find some dead bodies around, but there doesn't seem to be anybody else alive. But something has gone terribly wrong here. As you start exploring, you can hear faint sounds of combat outside the bunker. Especially when you come across areas that have small openings to the outside, you can quite clearly hear the gunshot, as the war is still raging outside. And even when you're deeper in the bunker, deep bombing from outside, which shakes the walls and just gives a notable boom in the area, is really hard to miss, and at times really scared me. You explore the bunker and learn two important facts that define your upcoming goal and experience for the rest of the game. First is that the only way out is to blow yourself out of the bunker, so you have to find the needed things to do that. Second, there is a hostile monster in the bunker with you, which is quite intent on eating you. And that is the basic of the game. Get out and don't get eaten. And while you gather up the required items to get out, you get to know the former residents of the bunker through their diaries and piece together what happened here during the days you hold no memory of. You explore the bunker using your wits, throwable items, your gun, which only stuns the monster for a moment at best, and a clock to time how long the lights will stay on to reach your objective, because the lights really matter here. You do have a wind-up flashlight, which is quite loud, doesn't work for a very long time, and does attract the monster, because the monster is attracted by sounds. But light is important because the monster is not fond of light, so when the lights are on, the monster tends to stay in the wall, making traveling around the bunker much easier, because when the lights are off, the monster is gonna start wandering the halls instead. So light management becomes a huge part of the game. There is a generator in the bunker which you can fill with oil to turn on the lights for a limited amount of time. But there is limited amount of oil cans in the bunker, you have limited carrying space, and these oil cans are not next to the generator, meaning you're going to be traveling around trying to pick up these oil cans while also picking up the items you need and getting some healing items to take them back to your safe area to top up the fuel, leading to a rather tense and interesting inventory management. Now in the bunker there is one safe room where you can use an oil lamp to actually save your game. You can go add fuel to the generator, you can lock the doors to have like a moment of breather And there is also a map of the bunker, and this is where every expedition into other parts of the bunker is gonna start from. And at times when taking on challenging sections, I would finish up few things in an area I was working in, and then just run back to save, manage the oil, and just take a well-earned breather, while also knowing that each time I did that, I was wasting precious fuel by running back and forth. It was the choice between pushing on and taking the risk of having to start all the way back from when I first set out into that area, or wasting fuel by going back for the safety of being able to save, so I don't have to redo the progress I've made. And sometimes going back, especially if the light had gone off, it was terrifying and so much fun. Meaning overall I really enjoyed the horror feeling of the game. It held many moments of wonderful terror, and the gameplay mixed with nice and fitting visual design and really good audio. I was kept on the edge of my seat for most of my playthrough, and I genuinely enjoyed this Amnesia game more than the previous entries. While the Dark Descent scared me more when I played it, as it was such a new experience, the bunker use of the safe room and lights brought a very fun horror experience to the game. Add to this the game clocking in on average about 4.5 hours, it keeps this horror short and sweet, avoiding the moment where the game stops being scary simply as you get used to the horror. So is Amnesia the Bunker worth playing? I for one really enjoyed it. It is a game you can play over a weekend and come out of reasonably satisfied. If you like the previous Amnesia games, it's a nice new take on the series. It is familiar but also new, which is fun. I would recommend it to any fan of it, and if you just are a general horror fan, it is definitely worth a look. You don't have to know the series for it to be interesting, as it's just a fun little horror romp through the bunker. So I would definitely recommend it. But that's just me. What do you think about the game? Do you feel it is or perhaps was worth your time? And which of the Amnesia games do you favor in the series? And what is the thing that makes you like that game over the others? Let's talk about it in the comments. And while you're down there, do all the good YouTube stuff. It really helps with the algorithm, so just like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. And let's talk about video games. But whatever you do, I hope you have a lovely day, and hopefully a bit of a spooky one.